being with us as we continue to celebrate the 55th season of the Nordson Academic Challenge. I'm your host, I'm Rob Powers. The challenge of the show is the same as it's always been. 3 local high school teams compete for points by answering questions. We have math, science, history, a few other topics as well. We're going to hear it one more time for our 3 teams. Berkshire, Geneva, and Talmadge today. Now, every team this year will be playing for a chance to make it onto our leaderboard. Here are the standings so far. At the end of the season, the 3 highest scoring teams are going to be right back here for our championship game and the chance to be crowned the champions of our 55th season. Take back to their school the top prize, a $6,000 grant from Nordson. All right, so we start this morning where we start every Saturday morning with the lightning round. All 3 teams compete in this round. We award 20 points for a correct answer. We will subtract 20 points for no answer or an incorrect answer. Let's start this match. Every team with 100 points. Is everybody ready? All the answers here must have exactly 6 letters. 6 letters. Good? Here we go. These brothers, Wilbur and Orville, made the first airplane flight. Berkshire.
Right.
That is correct. This British doctor discovered blood circulation. Answer is Harvey, William Harvey. This chess piece moves diagonally. Talmadge.
Rook.
Bishop. Bishop is the answer. This is the lightest of the noble gases. Berkshire.
Helium.
That is correct. This Danish prince titles a Shakespeare play. Talmadge.
Hamlet.
That is correct. He was the wizard in King Arthur's court. Berkshire.
Merlin.
Merlin is correct. This mythical monster was across the strait from Charybdis. Berkshire.
Silica.
Scylla is the answer. Scylla is the answer. Sorry about that. This is the main muscle in your upper arm. Berkshire.
Bicep.
That is correct. This is a space entirely devoid of matter. Talmadge.
Vacuum.
Vacuum is correct. For our final lightning round question, here's our good friend Vince Jeffries from the Akron Zoo.
One of the most popular attractions at the Akron Zoo is the Komodo dragon. But despite its name, this animal is not really a dragon, but the largest example of what type of reptile, whose smaller examples include geckos and chameleons.
Geneva.
Lizard.
Lizard is correct, and that's the end of that round. All 3 teams. Strong round. We'll be back with more of the 55th season of the Nordson Academic Challenge right after this.
Nordson is honored to sponsor a program that celebrates academic excellence. We're a global industrial technology company with a long and proud history of giving back to the communities where we live and work. We donate 5% of our U.S. pre-tax profits to charity every year. Over the past 30 years, the Nordson Corporation Foundation has donated more than $100 million, and our employees have volunteered more than 100,000 hours. And now, we're pleased to support the legacy of Academic Challenge. Thank you all for watching, and the best of luck to all the participants.
Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. If you'd like more information about any of the schools that appear this season, scan that QR code you see on the upper right-hand corner of your screen with your cell phone. That code takes you to news5cleveland.com's Academic Challenge page. We have links for all of this season's schools' websites right there. Time for us now to play Hot Picks. One at a time, I ask each team 8 questions. A correct response here is worth 20 points. No penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 8 questions correctly will receive 25 bonus points. Before we get to the questions, let's meet our teams. Berkshire, Jason, you're the captain. Jason, tell us about yourself.
I'm a junior at Berkshire High School. I'm a captain on the football team. I wrestle and I play baseball.
Awesome. That's a busy year. Hi, Calvin. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Calvin. I'm a junior at Berkshire High School also. I'm the president of Actively Caring for People, the co-vice president of Student Council. I do videography for the football team. I'm in band and jazz band.
It's a long resume right there. Welcome, Calvin. Hi, Erwin.
Hello. I'm also a junior at Berkshire. I'm a varsity cheerleader. I'm co-vice president of Student Council. I'm a member of National Honor Society and Spanish Honor Society, and I'm in band, and I also do theater.
Busy. You go to classes too, right? Okay. For your questions, Berkshire, we go to Geneva. Riley, you're the captain. Riley, open board here. Envelope 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
3. Okay. Okay, Berkshire, these questions from envelope 3, all yours. All set? Here we go. What colorfully named medal is awarded to all U.S. military personnel who are wounded in battle?
Purple Heart.
That is correct. The U.S. Aerial Experimental Association was founded not by an aviator, but by what man who invented the telephone?
Alexander Graham Bell.
That is correct. Talk about fashion discrimination. In ancient Rome, only male citizens were allowed to wear what garment?
Toga.
Toga is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. Which of these terms refers to the positively charged antimatter particle that corresponds to the electron?
Proton.
Positron is the answer there. Positron. Sorry about that. In 1204, what Mongol conqueror ordered each of his men to build 5 extra campfires to trick his enemies into thinking he had more soldiers than he really had?
Genghis Khan.
That is correct. Scholars believe that Shakespeare wrote at least one scene for a drama about what early 16th century political figure, the author of Utopia? Sir Thomas More is the answer there. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. What is the value of angle x if 2 angles of the triangle are 50 degrees and 60 degrees?
110.
That is correct. It was on his way to a class reunion at Williams College that what 20th U.S. president was assassinated?
William McKinley.
James A. Garfield, the answer there. But Berkshire, nice round. Good job. Good job. Okay. Our second team today comes to us from Geneva. Geneva, Riley, you're the captain. Tell us about Riley.
I'm a senior. I'm in the band and jazz band, and I'd like to thank our advisors for bringing us here.
Nicely done. Hi, Sophie. Good morning.
Hi, I'm a junior at Geneva High School. I'm a member of the varsity soccer, swim, and track teams. I'm the junior drum major for Marching Geneva, and I'd like to thank our family and friends for coming to watch us today.
So do we. Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Sophie. Hi, Bridget.
Hi, I'm a junior at Geneva, and I play varsity soccer. I swim and run track. And I'd like to thank Sarah and Zach, our alternates, for being here.
Awesome. Well, we welcome all 3 of you here to our lovely show this morning. For your questions, we go to Jacob from Talmadge. Jacob, we are down to envelopes 1, 2, or 4?
4.
4. Okay. Geneva, these questions are all yours. All set? Here we go. What French heroine died before her 20th birthday when she was burned at the stake during the 100 Years' War?
Joan of Arc.
That is correct. 200,000 pounds of copper cover what New York City statue that stands at the mouth of the Hudson River?
Statue of Liberty.
That is correct. There are only 10 sentences in the 1863 address Abraham Lincoln delivered at the dedication of a cemetery at what Pennsylvania site?
Gettysburg.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. Of these 3 creatures, which one is not classified an arachnid?
Grasshopper.
That is correct. Forget regular barbecue. You can dine on snake, possum, and groundhog at the annual Roadkill Cook-Off. In what Appalachian state whose capital is Charleston?
West Virginia.
That is correct. Wow. An attack by giant squid provides excitement in what Jules Verne novel about Captain Nemo's voyage in a submarine?
1,000 Leagues.
One more time.
1,000 Leagues.
20,000 leagues under the sea. Sorry about that. We go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. What integer is halfway between 25 and 49?
32.
37. We were 5 away. That's all right. President James Buchanan had earlier served as Secretary of State in the cabinet of what 11th president, chief executive during the Mexican-American War?
No.
Answer? Is Polk. James Knox Polk. All right, Geneva, nice round. Okay. And that takes us to Talmadge. Talmadge, good morning. Jacob, what do we need to know about you?
I'm Jay. I'm a section leader in marching band for Talmadge. I play the bass clarinet. I bowl, and I do academic challenge.
Awesome. Yes, you do. You do it well. Camden, good morning.
Good morning. My name's Camden. I am a section leader in the Talmadge Marching Band. I do theater tech, and I'm in National Honor Society.
Well, congratulations on that. Good morning, Loki.
Hi, I'm Loki. I'm an aspiring writer, and I'm sorry.
You're doing great is what you're doing. No worries. Okay. No worries. We welcome you. We welcome all 9 of you. You're all so great. You're all so busy. Thanks for everything you're doing. For your questions, Talmadge, we come back down to Berkshire. Jason, we're down to 1 or 2?
2.
2. It is a big choice. Here we go. Talmadge, your questions only. Set? Here we go. Talk about too little too late. In 1711, a decree exonerated 19 women who had been hanged as witches 2 decades earlier. In what Massachusetts city?
Salem.
Salem is correct. Alaska's state flag pictures Ursa Major, a constellation also known as the Great Bear, and as what big, old-fashioned utensil?
Dipper.
That is correct. Because there was a blossoming of art and learning in the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries. This period is given what name, meaning rebirth?
Renaissance.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. As it cools, volcanic lava that contains many tiny gas bubbles will form which kinds of rock with a sponge-like appearance?
Pumice.
That is correct. Crows are being trained to pick up cigarette butts and other litter in what Scandinavian country where Stockholm is the capital?
Sweden.
That is correct. In her book, The Sea Around Us, what author, who would later write Silent Spring, calculated the age of the oceans at 2 billion years old?
It's Curie.
Rachel Carson is the answer there. Rachel Carson. No worries. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your math question. Evaluate this expression, giving your answer as an integer.
145.
545. Noting nothing what 13th president could do enabled him to win in 1856 as a candidate of the Know Nothing Party.
Garfield.
Millard Fillmore is the answer there. Nice round, everybody. We are in a tight game, and we'll be back with more of that game. More academic excitement on the way after this. Today's judge, a recruitment specialist at Cuyahoga Community College, it's Kevin Perkins, everybody. Kevin, thanks so much for coming. Kevin, you having a good time? You having a good time? Yeah, I bet you are. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Before we start the next round, we are going to take a look at our scores so far. We have a tie right now for second place with 220 points. Geneva and Talmadge knotted at 220. Berkshire leading the way right now with 260 points. But hold on, time to go head-to-head once again. This is our picture-perfect round. Every correct answer here worth 20 points. A wrong answer or no answer will take away 20 points. For all three teams, hands on the buzzer, eyes on the big monitor. All set? Here we go. In this painting, a woman is gathering what flowers, now the official flower of the United States? Answer? Roses. Those are roses. Okay, the red square on this chart covers what metallic element used to control the speed of neutrons in nuclear reactors? Its symbol, Berkshire.
Beryllium.
That is correct. These words subtitle a biography of what man who led the Mormons across the country to Utah, where a major university is named for him? Berkshire.
John Smith.
Brigham Young. Brigham Young is the answer there. Okay, let's go back to the monitor for what value of x is y equal to 0. I see the wheel spinning here. Answer is 6. This sulfur was found on what Italian island, the largest in the Mediterranean Sea? Geneva.
Sicily.
That is correct. Author Boris Pasternak addressed the Russian people with these words, which you can complete with what concept called the fourth dimension? Berkshire.
Time.
Time is correct. Police on roller skates are a common sight outside what Paris museum, where you can also see the winged victory of Samothrace? Paris Museum?
The Louvre.
Berkshire.
The Louvre.
That is correct. The woman on the cover of this issue of Cleveland Magazine is walking her dogs, who are also known as the species Canis familiaris. What is the name of the biological class that they share with rodents, bats, primates, and others? Talmadge.
Mammal.
Mammal is correct. Way to go. We are still in a very tight game. Don't go anywhere. Our grab bag round to determine today's winner, that's still coming up, but we're going to mix it up when we come back. All right, let's welcome our advisors today from Berkshire. It's Katie Ritz from Geneva, and Mark and John and Brenda Unsinger are here, and from Talmadge, it's Sean Mulroy. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to move on to our next round. Time to mix it up. One at a time. I ask each team 6 questions. A correct response here worth 20 points. No penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 6 questions correctly will receive 25 bonus points. Berkshire, you're up. Set? Here we go. I hope you saw in this phrase the hidden name of what pamphleteer of the American Revolution, the author of Common Sense?
Paine.
That is correct. Which of these words would best describe someone who is complacent?
Self-satisfied.
That is correct. These are 2 of the 3 principal organs of the United Nations. Missing is what council, whose 5 permanent members have veto power. Answer? Security, the Security Council. The letters in this phrase can be rearranged to name what American Secretary of State whose critics saw red in 1867 when he engineered the purchase of Alaska.
Wards?
William Seward is the answer there. That's okay. Which of these is the name of a legendary Greek island said to have been destroyed by an earthquake?
Shangri-La?
Atlantis. This was the opinion of what 20th century Chinese communist leader who for years held the post of party chairman and had led the World War II Long March? Answer is Mao. Nice round, Berkshire. All right, we're moving on. Geneva, you're up. All ready? These are just for you. Study this choice. See if you can find the last name of what man who succeeded Richard Nixon to become our 38th president.
Ford.
Ford is correct. It is true that only one of these prefixes means false. Which one is it?
Pseudo.
That is correct. Here are 2 of the 3 U.S. capital cities whose names begin with T. Missing is what capital of New Jersey?
Trenton.
That is correct. The letters in this phrase can be rearranged to name what political right demanded by such women as Susan B. Anthony?
Suffrage.
That is correct. Pet food would appeal to which of these mythical creatures, the 3-headed dog that guarded the entrance to Hades?
Cerberus.
That is correct, and that was big. This is for the bonus points. In 1914, a war correspondent cabled this description of the German army's advance through Brussels, the capital of what European country?
Belgium.
Belgium is correct for the bonus points! There you go, Geneva. Talmadge, you're up. All set? Here we go. Hidden in this phrase is what type of blood vessel that carries blood back to the heart?
Vein.
That is correct. A person who is very brave can best be described by which of these adjectives?
Intrepid.
That is correct. These 2 regions were once part of the triangular trade of molasses, rum, and slaves. Left out is what continent that it was the 3rd side of that triangle?
Africa.
That is correct. Since you'd look silly wearing a walk, see if you can rearrange these letters to name the last campaign of the American Revolutionary War.
No.
Answer?
No answer.
Is Yorktown. None of these legendary siblings had easy home life, but which pair was raised by a wolf?
Romulus and Remus.
That is correct. The man who made this statement, Adlai Stevenson, burned up the campaign trail but lost 2 elections to what World War II general who became our 34th president?
Eisenhower.
That is correct, and that's a heck of a round. Everybody, oh boy, it's a tight one this morning. We're back with our final and deciding grab bag round right after this. Time for the grab bag round. This is another free-for-all round. Every correct answer here worth 30 points. A team will lose 30 points for a wrong or no answer. For all 3 teams here, hands on the buzzer, eyes on the monitor when we need it. All set? Here we go. The youngest of all Medal of Honor recipients, Civil War drummer Willie Johnston, was how old, equaling the square root of 169? Berkshire.
17.
13 is the answer, 13. Catherine Lee Bates wrote her song America the Beautiful after climbing what famous Colorado mountain named for an early 19th century explorer? Answer is Pikes Peak. The great religious leader Siddhartha Gautama founded what religion that rivaled Hinduism in India for over 1,000 years? Geneva.
Buddhism.
That is correct. This is what's second longest European river that flows through 4 capital cities before emptying into the Black Sea. Geneva.
Danube.
That is correct. In 347 BC, a wedding feast in Athens was interrupted by the death of one of the guests. What philosopher who had written the Republic? Talmadge.
Plato.
Plato is correct. Choice. Plants such as cattails, bulrushes, and cranberries, which grow entirely or partly submerged in water, are called mesophytes, hydrophytes, or xerophytes. Berkshire.
Hydrophytes.
That is correct. What 2-word nickname describes the bell in the clock tower of Parliament in London? Berkshire.
Liberty Bell.
Big Ben is the answer there. I'm sorry about that. We go to the scoreboards. That was our buzzer. Let's go to the scores right now. In third place today, we'll check this to make sure we're right, but in third place this morning with 340 points, the team from Berkshire. In second place today with 370 points is the team from Talmadge. And the winner of today's academic challenge with 445 points, it's the team from Geneva. Be sure to join us next time. We feature teams from Cuyahoga Falls, Shaker Heights, and St. Edward. Thanks for being a part of this one. I'm Rob Powers. We'll see you right back here next week. After further review, Berkshire finished today's game with 310 points.